We are back with another Dynasty Rookie Deep Stash. As always, guys, if you like Dynasty content, make sure to hit the subscribe button and help us get to 1,300 subscribers. If you were with us last year, you know we dive deep into each and every rookie class, and we make these Dynasty Deep Stash videos for rookies. And we look at guys drafted in the fifth, sixth, seventh round, even undrafted guys, as we have today in an undrafted wide receiver, Efton Chism III, and hopefully I'm saying his first name right. I don't know how else to say it, but Efton Chism III, undrafted wide receiver out of Eastern Washington. The Eastern Washington Eagles goes undrafted to the New England Patriots. We see the raw numbers there. He's 5'11", 200 pounds. You see the 2024 stats, and they're pretty insane. Now, obviously, he's playing at Eastern Washington, so is the competition at the level of the SEC? Not even close. But that doesn't mean what's great about football, what we love about football, which is it's pretty unique in that sense. I guess you could say baseball is similar, but guys can really, you could become a Hall of Famer as an undrafted guy. Look at Antonio Gates. You can become all pro, 10-year starter if you're a seventh round pick. Like there is opportunity for you. If you are good, the NFL will find you. And maybe we have something here with Mr. Efton Chism III. Now, I'm already hearing the Cooper Kupp, the Cooper Kupp comparisons, and that just needs to stop. One, because Cooper Kupp, the guy was amazing, and he was a legitimate prospect coming out of Eastern Washington. He was a third-round pick. He's like 6'2", 205 or something. Like he's a legit size and speed, and again, just a legit prospect. That's why he was a third-round pick. Efton Chism, Chism here. It's a long shot for him to do anything, to even make a roster. He's an undrafted guy, right? The odds of an undrafted guy hitting are quite low, but there's something here to him, in my opinion, in Chism. And I mean, again, the raw numbers, and when you watch the film, it jumps off the page because this guy's just literally making every single catch. Now, I don't have the Dominator numbers. If you're new to the channel and you're not sure what Dominator is for wide receivers, the percentage of their team's passing offense that they are responsible for, receiving yards and touchdowns that they are responsible for. I don't have that for Chism, only because it's really hard to find, when we're talking these FCS schools and stuff, Division I FCS schools, it's really hard to find those numbers from the entire team. I do have Chism's numbers at Eastern Washington, where he spent 5 years. His last couple of years were really good. Again, you see the 2024 numbers are off the chart. But last year in 2023, 85 catches, 939 yards, 8 touchdowns. So in his career, almost 350 catches, almost 4,000 yards, and 37 touchdowns. And what I like about Chism, obviously, the athletic stuff is not there. The 40-yard time is really bad. Like 4.71 for a wide receiver is incredibly bad. And when you watch him play, you don't get the feel that he runs a 4.71, but then you remember that he is playing against lower competition. A lot of his production comes off of guys just like, breaking tackles on plays where that's probably not going to be a broken tackle in the NFL. So, the 10-yard split there, the vertical, none of that stuff is that great, right? Those are the real numbers that matter. The combine numbers, the combine drills that matter for wide receivers is the vertical, is the 10-yard split, and then actually, funny enough, it's hand size and arm size, which Chism here doesn't really have any of that, right, going for him. But the production's there. And he has some intriguing qualities about him. Obviously, the drop percentage, he has one of the lowest drop rates in the entire class. If I'm, just kind of looking at some of the other guys, I think the only other guy that has a lower drop rate than him that I have listed on here, which is about, 30 plus wide receivers, is Jack Besh. And Chism's right there at 3.1. Jack Besh at 2.9% drop rate, which is great. Sure hands, which if he's going to translate to the slot, then that's going to be really, really important that you have those short hands, as is the contested catch percentage. 64.1% contested catch percentage is probably the highest in this entire one of the highest in this entire draft class. I think Savion Williams is the only one that's higher than him. But 64.1% is pretty insane. Anything above like 45, anything north of 50% contested catch percentage is really damn good. And he's at 64.1%. And one of my favorite statistics here is the contested target percentage. That's how many of your targets are contested. And what that shows me is your ability to get open. Now, this is adjusted for, it removes behind the line of scrimmage passes, because that could really affect your contested target percentage. If you're just getting a bunch of screen passes, you're going to have a low contested target percentage, because it's really hard to contest a pass when it's thrown behind the line of scrimmage, a wide receiver screen. It can happen, but it's really, really hard to. Really, really good. 12%, I believe, is like second or third highest in this class. Tej Johnson is pretty or low, I guess you could say. To me, anywhere around 20% or lower is good. Anything below 15% is really, really good. You're getting open at a very high rate, and it's something that I'm paying more and more attention to recently. Some wide receivers last year that had low contested target numbers: Lad McConkey at 16%, Xavier Worthy at 18%, Roman Wilson we didn't get to see, Ricky Pearsall at 16%, who he came on at the end of the year, Jalen McMillan at 13%. He had a good second half of the year. Some guys with a high contested target percentage: Marvin Harrison Jr., which was kind of a criticism of him last year. Keon Coleman was a big criticism of him; just can't separate. Didn't produce too much year one. Xavier Legette, Jalen Polk, some guys, Johnny Wilson, some guys that didn't do well, that had a pretty bad contested target rate. There was very few guys from last year's draft, at least, that had a bad contested target rate that actually produced. Now, there's always going to be exceptions. I think Puka Nakua's contested target rate was not very good, and we obviously know what that went on to be. Puka Nakua was at 22%, so it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. And so I really like his ability to make contested catches and his ability to get open. Like, to me, if you're not going to be fast, right? You're not going to be fast. You're not going to be athletic. Can you get open? And can you make contested catches, especially if you're expected to play in the slot, which I think we're all kind of thinking he's going to be. And again, the Cooper Kupp, the Julian Edelman, the Wes Welker comparisons are going to happen because, it's a white guy from a smaller school who's projected to play in the slot, right? And a smaller player in general. It's kind of a lazy comparison. But what I like about him, again, that I already went over with the analytical stuff, is, on the tape, it's just he's kind of a hard-nosed type of player, right? And again, it's always tough to know, how it's going to translate to the next level, because he is playing against FCS level competition, and the difference between FCS players and even, Big Ten, even like Mountain West, Pac-12, I know all those are like kind of gone now. SEC, it's big, right? The level of competition is huge. And so, but to see him as he's more of a hard-nosed grinder type of player, he's willing to take on contact. He can break tackles, at least he did at the FCS level. And that's really all we can judge him off of right now. We can't judge him. We'll have to wait and see. A couple other things that go beyond the statistics in the film. He signed a pretty good undrafted free agent contract, and apparently the reason is because a couple other teams were hard after him, and so New England had to up the offer to him to get him to come. So I forget exactly the number. I think it's like 200 or close to 300,000 or something like that. But it was one of the higher undrafted free agent contracts, because in particular, Denver was the team I heard that was really going hard after Chism III here. And so New England had to up their offer. So there was teams interested, right? Which is also another intriguing thing here. And opportunity, right? If we're being completely honest, that's probably the most important thing when talking about these deep stashes, because when it comes to 2025 next year, right, or 2026 draft, next year, we're looking at Dynasty deep stashes. We're going to cut all these guys that didn't produce, that were drafted 5th, 6th, 7th round, or undrafted, that didn't produce in year one. If you're holding on to guys like Jacob Cowing, even guys like Javon Baker, Isaiah Williams and Casey Washington, like these guys that we were telling you to stash last year, you're probably cutting them this year. And so it doesn't really matter what they do in year 2, year 3. We need them to kind of hit year 1, or else we're probably just going to end up cutting them during the season or by the end of the season. So opportunity is extremely important. And again, one of the teams where that needs wide receiver production that didn't do a whole lot to add to their wide receiver room or their pass catching room is the Patriots. We were thinking about the Patriots all offseason. They're going to make a couple of moves. Okay, they brought in Stephon Diggs. Okay, then maybe they're going to draft, maybe even like a Tyler Warren, a Ted McMillan, or draft someone early on in the second round, whatever. They didn't draft anyone until Kyle Williams in the 3rd round, right? And I'm a big Kyle Williams fan. You guys know that. But, he's a 3rd round pick. And beyond that, you got, Demario Douglas is there, Keyshawn Boutte, Mac Hollins, Kendrick Bourne, kind of the same cast as last year. And then, Jalen Polk and Javon Baker, who were kind of rookie busts last year. So there's opportunity for him to fight for that roster spot and potentially get on the field. Now, long shot that he does anything, but the film, some of the analytical stuff, and the opportunity kind of all comes together. And I think there's potentially something here. So if you play in a deeper league, I guarantee you Efton Chism III is on your waiver wire. Like, unless you play in extremely deep leagues, he's on your waiver wire. So if you came here to tell, for me to tell you, like, Jarquez Hunter or Trevor Etienne is a sleeper, that's not the channel we're not that type of channel, because those guys aren't sleepers. Those guys are getting drafted, right? Everyone knows their names and stuff like that. Not a lot of people have heard of Efton Chism III. So if you play in deeper leagues, he's potentially out there. Maybe scoop him up, just see what happens during training camp. It can be an easy, post-training camp cut if he might not even make the team. So, but that's all I have for you guys here today. We will be back with more of these. We're going to put these out for the next couple of months, multiple times a week. So we're going to dive deep into some of these later picks, undrafted guys. Appreciate everyone for watching. Make sure to hit the like, subscribe, and join our Discord. Link is in the description of the video, and it is free. Appreciate you all. See you all in the next video.